They want to raise money to rent it. So whenever
yeah, that one we really enjoyed, yeah. Oh, Alapura. Food and everything. Oh my god. Ana. Oh. The back പോണേ ബാക്കിലേക്കാ പോണേ കേട്ടോ.
Is linked to the new home of ITV Studios and the Coronation Street set on the Trafford side of the canal by Media City footbridge, which spans 65 metres and weighs 450 tonnes. This swings from a concrete foundation, opening up a 48-metre wide navigation channel. Latest site for the set of their famous soap Coronation Street, which moved here in 2013. Coronation Street was first aired on the 9th of December 1960 and is the world's longest running soap opera. It was created by Tony Warren, who drew inspiration from his grandmother's surroundings in inner city Salford and created Coronation Street, a working class community inhabited by ordinary people leading unspectacular lives. Now is mode real locks. This is the last of 5 locks that ships had to travel through when making the 35-mile journey from the start of the canal at Easton. It was here that Queen 15 metres of basin down to sea level. The lock we can see is the largest and deepest of the 5 locks at 4.5 metres deep, 180 metres in length and 24 metres in width. Each set has a large lock for ocean-going ships and a smaller, narrower lock for vessels such as tugs and coasters. Which could accommodate ocean-going ships of up to 535 feet and were used for repairs and maintenance of vessels as they allowed water to be drained away. Manchester Dry Docks Limited folded in 1980 with the loss of 450 jobs, but a band of former employees resurrected it as a shipyard in 1987. Trawlers, cargo vessels, dredgers and even an aluminium catamaran were built here before the docks finally closed in 2007, with their plate rollers, guillotines, presses and other heavy machinery being dismantled and moved to Liverpool. Coronation Street and Rankover's Mill is Trafford Park. This is the first planned industrial park in the world and was Europe's largest for over a century. At its peak, over 75,000 people were employed at Model 2 Ford, and by 1915, over 100 American companies had moved to the park. During the Second World War, engines for Spitfires, Mosquitoes and Lancaster bombers remained here.
Yeah.
Coming up to number 9 dock, and this is the last of the docks to be built here, opened in 1905. It became home to Manchester Liners and was the largest of the docks to be built here, holding up to 10 ocean liners or large container ships. Originally there were 8 docks, 4 here in Salford and 4 at Pomona, but only one of these, number 1 dock on the Pomona side, is actually in Manchester itself. Docks 7, 8 and 9 on the Salford side have now been closed from the main part of the canal, allowing the water inside these closed-off areas to be cleaned. This is now the home to a water sports centre and hosts events such as open water swimming. Is Media City UK, and this is the final area of the docks to be developed. This 200-acre site is now home to the BBC, who moved here in 2011, with shows such as Watchdog, Match of the Day and BBC Breakfast being filmed here. It was developed with an investment of £650 million from the Peel Group, who own the Manchester Ship Canal, having taken control of the company in 1987. At the end of 9 Dock, you can see the sculpture Where the Wild Things Were. The giant blades of elephant grass suggest places beyond the canal where ships sailed to and from. This sculpture celebrates the impact of the Manchester Ship Canal, a man-made waterway connecting Salford to the sea and the rest of the world. Each steel base is engraved with drawings by local children who imagine the landscape and wildlife of far-off lands. Their sense of wonder mirrors that of Salfordians who witness bananas, citrus fruits, cotton and tea arrive here from distant shores for the very first time. Building ahead of us is the Imperial War Museum, designed by Daniel Libeskind in the deconstructivist style. Libeskind envisaged a constellation composed of 3 interlocking shards, with each shard being a remnant of an imagined globe shattered by conflict. The museum explores the impact of modern conflict on people and society, and was opened in July 2002. Bridge. This is a 91.2 metre long vertical lift bridge, which lifts the total length of its walkway, 18 metres, in less than 3 minutes. It was constructed in 2000 at a cost of approximately £5 million. This is where large ships that use the canal would come to turn around and represent the main area of the dock, with entrances to 6, 7 and 8 dock. And at its peak, this is the 3rd busiest port in the country. A prominent site from the canal is Old Trafford Football Ground, home to Manchester United. Although from 1941 to 1949, the club shared main road with local rivals Manchester City as a result of Second World War bomb damage. It is one of the largest stadiums in the UK, having undergone a number of expansions in the 1990s and 2000s, but its record attendance was in 1939, when 76,962 spectators watched the FA Cup semi-final between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Grimsby Town. used to form part of a swing railway bridge. This has now been relocated to Nine Dock and acts as a pedestrian bridge across the dock. It was part of the Manchester Ship Canal Railway, which was used to aid the construction of the canal and became the largest privately owned railway in Britain. Is Trafford Road Swing Bridge, which was built in 1892 and is the largest and to our left is a redevelopment of a Colgate palm olive factory, which closed in 2007, having one of the last large industrial sites to remain on this part of the canal. This was a detergent and toiletries manufacturing complex and utilised the canal to transport cargo. It is now home to TalkTalk, the first FTSE 100 company to relocate its headquarters outside of London.
Sorry, go to the top.
The idea for the Manchester Ship Canal came about when Manchester was a thriving city at the heart of the Industrial Revolution. Originally built on the cotton trade, the Ship Canal enabled the engineering and chemical industries that supported it to be expanded and diversified, so that by 1935, Manchester was, without challenge, the first and greatest industrial city in the world. The cost of transporting goods through the port of Liverpool and aboard the railways was seen as excessive by the business community of Manchester, with goods often being cheaper to transport through the docks at Hull on the other side of the country rather than through Liverpool. As such, a canal was proposed, bypassing the Liverpool docks and bringing the sea 40 miles inland to Manchester. Of Parliament in 1885, it would require the excavation of 41 million cubic metres of earth along its 36-mile stretch, dug mostly by hand by navvies, and the construction of 5 locks able to take vessels up to 160 metres in length and 20 metres wide. It is the longest river navigation canal and remains the world's 8th longest ship canal, only slightly shorter than the Panama Canal in Central America. Labourers known as navvies. These were groups of labourers who would travel the country working on civil engineering projects, such as railways and canals. Temporary shanty towns would be set up along the stretch of the canal they were working on, set out into quarters based on where the workers came from. Up to 30% of the navvies who built the canal were Irish. They would wheelbarrow hand-dug dirt from the bottom of the canal to waiting railway carriages. Up to 1,100 navvies would die during the construction of the canal. The Industrial Revolution was built on the back of the city's cotton trade. In 1781, Richard Arkwright opened the world's first steam-driven textile mill on Miller Street in Manchester. Although initially inefficient, the arrival of steam power signified the beginning of the mechanisation, leading to Manchester becoming the world's first centre of mass production. In 1871, over 30% of the global cotton production came from Manchester. Of the river is the new home of the factory and the Manchester International Festival, a £200 million arts centre development designed to bring culture to the north of England, with a 2,000-seater auditorium, an 80-man orchestra pit and a 5,000 capacity flexible warehouse venue. us now is the Grade 2 listed Stephenson's Bridge, dating back to 1830 when it saw the world's first ever passenger rail service, with a train travelling between Liverpool and Manchester. With this small iron bridge, you can see into Wilburn Basin. This is where carts and wagons used to come from all over Manchester and Salford, bringing night soil. This night soil would be loaded into barges and taken down the river to a place called Dunklington. One of the main routes into Manchester, and historically it was one of the main roads connecting to Liverpool. During the height of the city's industrial past, a large Groves and Whitnall brewery sat on the banks of the river here, and the road was lined with drinking dens, frequented by the local dockers and sailors that sailed here from around the world. It was these dockers and sailors who would help the area gain the reputation as the Barbary Coast of England. Where it meets the River Irwell, the border being marked by the small footbridge that you can see ahead of us. The River Irwell is one of the three rivers of Greater Manchester, alongside the Irk and the Medlock, and each of these feed into the Manchester Ship Canal. The River Irwell also marks the boundary between two cities, Salford on one side and Manchester on the other. These neighbourhoods have often maintained a rivalry, with the Salford side of the river supporting the Royalists during the Civil War, and Manchester taking the side of the parliamentarians. This is where we turn around to now make the return journey back up to Salford Quays. And was home to many of the workers from Salford docks and the Ship Canal. It was described by Frederick Engels in the 1840s as a peninsula formed by a river, a town of 80,000 people, which is properly speaking one large working man's quarter. The houses here were traditional terrace houses set out in back-to-back streets. One such street, known as Archie Street, was the inspiration for the set design of Coronation Street. Archie Street also had a second claim to fame, as in 1936, Manchester United's Busby babe, Eddie Coleman, was born there. The Bridgewater Canal on one side and the Ship Canal on the other. This was originally the site of Botanic Gardens and the Royal Pomona Palace until 1880, when the land was purchased to make way for the docks. The Royal Pomona Palace was the largest hall of its kind in the country. Surrounded by pavilions, it exhibited a 100-foot clock tower, an orchestra pit for 100 performers, and could hold 30,000 people. The tea room ceiling was painted with figures of Mars, Venus, Neptune, Vulcan, and Pomona. There were 4 docks built here, but all but number 3 dock have now been infilled. It was along the wharf here that Guinness was shipped direct from the brewery in Dublin for distribution across the north. If you look to our left now, you can see into number 3 dock, where the new Hume lock has been made for access to the Bridgewater Canal. Kellogg's would transport maize up the Ship Canal, where it was transferred to a Mersey flatboat before being taken down the Bridgewater to their factory in Trafford, where it would be turned into cornflakes. By Sir Francis Egerton, the 3rd Duke of Bridgewater, to transport coal from Worsley to Manchester. Engineered by James Brindley, it was considered to be one of the first true canals, as unlike many other canals, it was not simply an extension of a river. Although its great initial cost of approximately £25 million in today's money, it saw the cost of transporting coal fall by half, and it inspired an intense period of canal building known as Canal Mania.